transparent. You tear down every wall that I built up. Now I wanna let you know that, yeah, everything about you makes me smile. I wanna be your best friend, your best friend. I wanna be around you all the time. You don't understand, you don't need to worry. I meant everything I said, you don't have to search no more. Love is all around, so baby, what's your hurry? You don't have to prove us to anyone. You don't need to worry. Hold on now, stop it. Hold on now, honey. Hold on now, baby. Hold on, stop it, give me love. Hold on now, stop it. Hold on now, honey. Hold on now, baby. Hold on, stop it, give me love. Hold on now, stop it. Hold on now, honey. Hold on now, baby. Hold on, stop it, give me love.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, people. Happy Tuesday. Oh. Ben, you muted.
Of all people to be muted, I'm muted. Okay. Hey, welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth. And no wonder nobody heard me in the background. I'm like, hey, Dwayne. Dwayne. I said, y'all just being rude as hell today.
And this sucker on mute the whole time, Dwayne.
Man, I was like, well, maybe the music is too loud and Dwayne can't hear me. And then like, but I was on mute the whole time. So anyway, good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth and not care who doesn't like it. I want to begin very briefly. I want to mention what's happening in Israel and Palestine right now. I'm going to do a full podcast on it tonight. I'm reaching out to several guests who can join in that conversation with me. But I want to acknowledge it at the top of this show, the inhumanity, particularly as it pertains to what this country, the United States of America, not to center America in it, but it's difficult to talk about international politics without the role of the United States as empire as it plays in it. And one of the biggest things that jumps out to me is the consensus building by the media. As I was listening and watching the news and taking in everything that was happening, I saw a consistent theme that is to be expected as well as disgusting. And particularly, it came out in the Secretary of State briefing. One of the spokespeople for the Secretary of State spoke yesterday, and he was asked a question about the right of Palestinian people to defend their children. And one of the first things, the most disgusting things that jumped out is the amount of voices, the number of voices that just essentially have to deny Palestinian humanity in order to protect the right wing. And I want to be clear about this. There is a right wing, an extreme right wing government in Israel right now. And so many people conflate. They mix up any criticisms of the government that's in Israel. They mix that up intentionally. So it's not a mistake. And they consider it and lump it into being anti-Semitism. But Benjamin Netanyahu, who's unable to create a coalition right now, so there's not technically an actual government in power in Israel right now. But the power structure there is a right-wing power structure. And there are plenty of voices. There are plenty of Jewish voices who stand in solidarity with Palestine, and particularly against what's happening over there right now as we speak. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, the attack on the mosque, the 9 children who have been killed, the 20 total, the disproportionate response that was a response to a response. It's not complicated, but the way it intersects with American politics is is really disappointing. And so we're going to discuss that on the podcast tonight. So be sure to tune in. I'm reaching out to some colleagues and some friends to get their input on it and get some additional voices in there. But I wanted to start there at the top of the show because we are fully aware of and paying attention, and our hearts are angry and broken with what's going on, and especially just the inhumanity of it all, James, and to bring it full circle, the inhumanity, what's happening in India right now is on the top of our list this morning with what's happening with COVID-19. The situation in India is so bad, and it is partly so bad because of the role the United States is playing with the vaccine apartheid, as well as refusing to give the generic. I mean, we're in discussions about waiving the patent rights so that we can get generic drugs created, or the nations like India can start producing generic drugs is the correct way to say it. But that has not happened as of yet. And the situation is so dire in India right now that poor people are having to dump the bodies of their loved ones into the river because the cost of cremation in India has skyrocketed as a result of all of the people who are dying of COVID-19 and having to be cremated because they're unable to, or either that's their religious preference or it's just the sheer volume of people who are dying and having to be cremated is making it impossible for poor people to afford cremation. And so there have been bodies that have been washing up on the Ganges River. And this is directly, we are so interconnected on this international stage that there's literally nothing that's happening on the global stage that our actions here don't have some bearing on. And the sad thing about that is that our actions here in the United States, generally speaking, have a negative impact on the lives of people across the international stage. And we see this playing out time and again. We see it played out in Yemen. We see it playing out in Israel, Palestine. We see it playing out in India right now with COVID-19. And in the United States, however, we have an abundance of vaccines. We have an abundance of vaccines, and we have such a level of hesitancy as it pertains to getting the vaccine. The way this has been politicized in the United States, there are so many vaccines that have been wasted, that have not gone into the bodies of Americans. They've just been wasted because of so much hesitancy and because it has been politicized. So we have this confluence of factors that emanate from the United States that have a detrimental impact across the international stage. And we're still at a stage of this pandemic. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. We're at a stage of everything where we can't take for granted the fact that everything is just going to simply work itself out. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is when we see something that happens cyclically, because the violence that we see, the attacks that we see in Israel right now against the Palestinian people, we see that come every so many years, but we make the assumption that it either just work itself out or this is, it just comes and goes. But things are a little different now, James. I kind of want to just bring it back down from the international stage to just reality here. We can't pretend like everything is always going to work itself out, especially when we look around us and see how much ignorance is surrounding all of these issues and how much people just don't care about their neighbors, man. Like, people don't care about the humanity and the dignity of other human beings. Like, they see their own interest and they believe I have the right to protect and defend my interest, but they look at someone else, and if that person's interest conflicts or causes strife with us, then we're more than happy to say, oh, they don't matter. I mean, and literally just using that phrase brings us all the way back home to the fact that how much we have to fight for our lives to simply matter here in the United States. It's the same fundamental principle. It's the same fundamental principle. It's that our existence is perceived as a threat to other people's existence. Our lives as black people is perceived as a threat to some white people in this country and to the policing agencies in this country. And that same exact dehumanization that takes place in the United States of America is spread abroad, and it takes place all across this globe, and it all traces back to the fact that we simply do not see the humanity of other people, man. And I'm telling you, I've been bothered by this. I've been bothered by this all night. I've just been like, because underneath it, of course, there's the politics of it, but it's just like, man, people don't care. People don't care about other people, man. It's like the level of selfishness is to the point where we would sit by and watch other people die versus inconveniencing ourselves, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm just bothered this morning by that.
You're right, and yet we pride ourselves to be the greatest country in the world, but we sure don't act like it. We sure don't treat anybody else like it. And it's been like this for ages. It's like, when is it gonna change?
Yeah, man. And that's the dangerous thing, is that we have this expectation. I don't know, man. It's what's happening to me right now, to make it personal. And I shouldn't, but I think it'll help some other people if I do. It's coming to the realization that the same problems that were here when my father was alive have not only not been solved, but we got dumber people in charge right now who are more likely to blow this thing the hell up. And we are not only are people like you and me, we're the adults in the conversation, right? We grown, right? We're responsible not only for our households, but we're responsible for the role we play in our communities. We're responsible for all the things that are going on and how we pay our taxes. Our tax dollars are going over to Israel right now that are being used to bomb people, right? Like we have our and the thing is though, if we're the adults in the room, who the hell is going to be the adult in the conversation on these big issues that could actually lead to global violence, that could lead to even more people dying from COVID-19, there's just so many different ways that this falls apart, man. And when you think about the people who are in Washington, D.C., they're clowns. They're not serious. They don't. They think everything is going to be just fine. Oh, it's just another day in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's just another day in COVID-19. But, bro, like somebody, there has to be enough leadership in this country where we actually fix some of these problems. Because the bad assumption is these problems aren't going to get worse, or everything works itself out. And I'm sitting back and I'm looking at all the people in charge and I'm like, wait a minute, y'all. Y'all are so ridiculous that y'all could really sit back and see this whole global order implode on us. I mean, they could destroy us. Climate. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we'll get to some stories. Bro, the way they ignore the impending climate crisis, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, are we, is there anybody home in Washington, D.C. that honestly understands what is coming around the corner, not only with climate change, with COVID-19, with all the conflicts that are still unresolved, with all the poverty, with all the sickness, with all the things that are going on, and these clowns are in Washington, D.C. acting like things are usual, or and I'm just blown away, because it doesn't really bode well for the future of not only our country, this planet, our species. We're some destructive ass people, man.
Oh,
James
yeah.
is like,
hell yes.
we're gonna destroy ourselves, man. We are going
real quick.
We're going to destroy ourselves. So I want to give you guys a couple of numbers here of where we are on COVID-19, as well as not just here in the United States, but to date, the United States has had 32.8 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 582,000 confirmed dead. According to NPR's vaccine tracker, more than 259 million doses have been administered. Fully vaccinating over 114 million people are only 34.4% of the U.S. population. Monday, the FDA announced that it was authorizing the use of Pfizer's COVID vaccine for the use on children age 12 to 15. It was previously approved for anyone 16 and older. The New York Times quoted pediatrician Dr. Kirsten Oliver, a Mount Sinai Hospital vaccine expert, saying, quote, this is great news. It feels like we've been waiting a long time to start protecting children in this age group. And again, on the international stage, the New York Times is reporting that poor people in India are disposing of bodies in rivers. Because the cost of cremations has shot up during the COVID-19 crisis. Dozens of corpses were found on the banks of the Ganges River on Monday. Back here in the United States, we have an abundance of vaccines, but even those can't prevent the pandemic of ignorance that abounds, the misinformation, the anti-vax movement, the messaging going out across media platforms like Fox News and even significantly so across social media. While we have an abundance of vaccines in the United States that are going to waste because of the vaccine hesitancy and because of politics, nations like India are on the brink and desperately not only in need of vaccines, but medical supplies and support, burying their dead or cremating them. And here we are in the United States with the abundance of everything that we need, but people abroad are suffering on a level that we can't imagine here in this country. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to cover a lot more news and politics. Like it or not, we'll be back right after this.
Good morning again, everyone. We hope that you're tuning in and enjoying the show, y'all. Make sure that you hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff so you know when liking and that is going down. And make sure that you subscribe to our new YouTube channel. That is the Like It or Not Show channel, y'all. Like It or Not Show. URL right there on the screen. Make sure that you check it out. tinyurl.com/like it or not show, y'all. Good morning, mama and daddy. Good morning, sensation.
All this that I'm laying, and it's only the foundation. I've been going crazy. Away. I was in the basement, trying to turn the page. I was going through the phase. Nobody see my face.
Shout out to Bryce, Tyler, good morning, y'all. I see y'all. Good morning, everybody that's streaming on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, y'all, YouTube. Good morning.
I've been making moves with everything to prove. Now what's going on?
Chuck Diesel, Esther, good morning, y'all. Savage, Sweetheart, Alicia, Fairy Girl, good morning. Dragon Daddy, good morning, y'all. Brother Latif.
I've lost somewhere in my head. I've been out here all on my own, holding tight to the patch. I'm somewhere near the edge of wishing we never met. I'm scared of being without you.
Nat A, Nat M, good morning, y'all. Purple Rain Hearts, good morning.
I'm near the edge, and I can't get inside of my head.
Soaking, good morning, good morning.
Like who I'm becoming. It's all I ever
Roll the Dragon, good morning, good morning.
only like you when I'm lonely. Got me looking in the mirror for the self-diagnosis. Feel like
Afraid Not, Courtney. Mark S, good morning, y'all.
the accident short, knowing that you play the angles, and I'm seeing through your motives. But the weight down on my shoulder, found a way to hold it. I can't keep my focus, better keep composure. Hard when I've been coping with all the pressure that I fed. Make it hard to hold my head, make it hard to get to sleep. Like I'm slipping from the edge, struggling to get a breath. Right the wrongs with the lead, life is not a guarantee. Just dying by the clip, still prescribed a daily mess. Now
On and on it goes, good morning.
on to something out of reach. Life is speeding to a peak, that's how I realize that I'm not the man I wanna be. I've been running for myself, we all afraid to die alone. Forget us all to ever be. I've been scrolling down a feed, afraid we never get to see the type of
Oh
living way
man,
that we really
y'all know what I forgot all about? Oh my goodness gracious.
I went out of my way.
We need to get our new Patreons out the way, y'all. Let's shout out our new Patreon members.
Somewhere in my head, and out here all on my own. I'm holding tight to the pledge. I'm somewhere near the edge.
All right, our new Patreon members. New Patreon members. We have Carrie T, Sandy, Barbara E, Mara Sharice, Mara, welcome, welcome. Ruth S, Jamie G, Ben W, Laszlo G. We have Cynthia C, Carol J, Nate L, Darlene N, Pamela V, Anisha, T for real, and our new Twitch subscribers who subscribe with Prime, Auntie Faye. Hey, Auntie.
Underneath the moonlight, 'cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go.
Shout out to our new patrons, y'all. If you want to become a Patreon member, you can as well, too. If you want to become a Patreon member, you can as well. Patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Get exclusive access to exclusive content. The patron parties with yours truly. It goes down. So make sure that you become a patron today, y'all. Patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Patreon.com/likeItOrNot, y'all. Let's get it. Let's go.
You and me must be right. Something's in the air. I can feel it now. You and me.
All right, y'all. Let's get back to the show, y'all. More Like It or Not coming up right now. Welcome back, Ben and Rebecca.
Morning, Becca. How's it going? Everybody got the gray memo.
Well, it's kind of gray. Not really gray.
Mine is blue, like blue jeanish. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I try to put a turquoise in my ear to throw it off, but it's coming off green on camera. But I was outside the club for a minute, and I don't like that. Thank you, Baba. I was outside the club for a minute, and I really don't like that.
You know, we had to get the sound system right. So before you came in, we just had to make sure everything was good and set up everything. So that's why we didn't let you in yet. We wanted to make sure everything was good.
I was watching you guys, and I one thing I did notice is that you know, Ben, I wanted to compliment you today. I wanted to let you know that one thing about when it comes to COVID, one thing about Ben, he's not going to let up. And I think that as far as giving the information and helping people understand what's going on, because even like I tell you guys, you know, even though I'm outside the club, I'm definitely watching as one of the viewers, and I really appreciate you and your continuous COVID coverage. Because not everyone is. It isn't over, but not everyone, and I think everyone is, you know, other channels that were once so invested in informing people on what's happening with COVID, they are now playing the role of, I feel like whatever the rest of the world is under, the pretense of that it's over and we need to just move on with our lives. So now, I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate your coverage.
Well, one of the things is that there's a big push to get back to normal. And I just, you know, folks, we had 582,000 people dead in 1 year. I just don't think we should so easily get back to normal, especially when, you know, we're not even at the vaccination rate to stop this. And so, you know, but it speaks, the reason I cover it so much is because it just speaks to the real problem in this country. Problem in this country, on this planet, is that people just, you know, people are broken. People are so broken that we can't see 600,000 people dead and realize that, you know, basically every country across the face of this planet has failed their people, but especially the United States of America has failed their people. And if we allow this push to get back to normal to actually fool us, that number is going to easily keep going up. Like, I think people take for granted that, you know, that we're out of this. We're not. And one of the reasons we're not out of this is because of the stupidity, right? It's because of the politics. But speaking of COVID, I want to give this one more update from President Biden on the subject of reopening from the COVID-19 pandemic. President Biden spoke out against the narrative that unemployed Americans are choosing not to return to work because COVID benefits are too generous. This is the ongoing argument. You see pictures across social media of fast food restaurants saying that they can't open because they don't have any workers, and then they make some statement along the lines of unemployment is too generous. This is the issue that President Biden addressed. He also warned that beyond certain exceptions, if people are offered suitable jobs, they must return to work or they will lose their unemployment benefits. Let's take a quick look at that.
We're going to make it clear that anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits. There are a few COVID-19 related exceptions so that people aren't forced to choose between their basic safety and a paycheck. But otherwise, that's the law. I know there's been a lot of discussion since Friday's report, that people are being paid to stay home rather than go to work. Well, we don't see much evidence of that. That is a major factor. We don't see that. Look, it's easy to say the line has been because of the generous unemployment benefits that it's a major factor in labor shortages. Americans want to work. Americans want to work. As my dad used to say, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity, your place in the community, being able to look your kid in the eye and say everything's going to be okay. I think the people who claim Americans won't work, even if they find a good and fair opportunity, underestimate the American people. So we'll insist that the law is followed with respect to benefits, but we're not going to turn our backs on our fellow Americans.
Now, one of the things that trips me out about this is this idea of suitable work. Now, I don't know if you guys have been, actually, Rebecca, I know you and I have been on unemployment because we got unemployment from the same job at one time. And the work requirement to go out and look for work, I mean, that's in a pandemic, you know,
why
early
you putting
on.
my business out there?
Well, because I didn't want to front and be like, oh, you ain't never been on unemployment. I'm like, well, hell, we went through that process together. But this is, you know, there's two things that are going on here. Number one, it's the idea that people need to be going out in a pandemic looking for work. Now, I mean, people do have vaccines now, and so, you know, yeah, okay. I don't see that being such a terrible thing at this point. They were trying to make people go and look in the Trump administration. They wanted to require people to go out and look for work in the pandemic before the vaccine even came out. Vaccine hadn't even been released yet. It didn't came to theaters yet. They wanted us to be out in the streets getting, you know, trying to get jobs. That's because in this country, they have this like this fetish for like if they give a poor person or unemployed person a penny, they want to work you 10,000 hours, make you go out and do anything and take any job that you could possibly get. And the other side of this is he's saying suitable jobs. Listen, people ain't going for these jobs that are paying $7 an hour anymore.
No. So what does that mean? What is suitable? What is suitable referred to?
Suitable to me means a job that people could live off of, not a job that people got to work 12 hours.
Saying.
Right.
Will he work those jobs? Okay, because there are people that are still getting paid under the table so that they can get paid like $3.50. The disrespect to trim someone's hedges at their mansion. You know what I mean? Like, are those suitable jobs? You know what I mean? Those are jobs that people need. Those are jobs people need to have. I'm pissed off about it because it's pissing me off because there's a lot of immigrants that I know in my family who came here and had to do those jobs so that they can be looked at for a suitable job, which meant cleaning hotels. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't like when people like that be talking like that because there are jobs that none of y'all would take. And I'm talking about those in the government and things like that. What is a suitable job to you? Because even after college, when me and you, Ben and Bubba, we all got degrees. But here's the thing. The degrees and manganese. But here is the thing. None of those things have worked for me. I can't do it OnlyFans because it's not in my spirit. And I can't and I cannot afford to drop my corporate job, which is not a suit. It's supposed to be considered suitable, but I'm slaving. I'm slaving with degrees that do not matter for this job. And then the thing that I really want to do and what we consider a suitable job here, they wouldn't consider a suitable job. They're considered this being more of just a dream, a creative, you know, like all those kind of things. But see, I deserve, you deserve, Bubba deserves, Dwayne, you deserve, David, you deserve, we all deserve suitable jobs that pay us to be able to live. So defining a suitable job, and especially coming from, the president and other people in those spaces, to me is it's just like, what's suitable for you, sir? Because it's like I'm working a job and it's still not suitable for me. So do you think just because I'm a working person, they like to make that assumption because you're a working class person?
Because you can't, see, suitable for them is absolutely not going to be suitable. Like what they want us to be willing to do. Like they want us to be in Wendy's making their burgers so that when they come through, they're not inconvenienced because people ain't putting up with the little $7 an hour that Wendy's pay. They won't see suitable in their minds is whatever they need workers and laborers to do at that moment. Suitable is to make sure that you bartending at Hooters so dude could, these are the things that they're complaining about. They don't view suitable as something that people can live off of. They view suitable as something that can serve them. That's the big difference.
But they'll label it as suitable.
Yep.
I'm going to slave for you, but and it's not really a suitable job, but we will label it as suitable because why? It's honorable to say that you have a suitable job. At the whole beginning of a pandemic, you needed to go to the office to call folks and tell them that they owe on credit cards. Mm-hmm. That was an essential job, which makes it a suitable job, which makes you an honorable person because you are collecting money on behalf of America during a time people are literally being furloughed off their jobs, fired off their jobs, closing businesses down, not knowing where the money is going to come from. That is how America does it. And it's funny because the people that will be serving us our food at the windows and, at the fast food stores, or the fast food companies and things like that, people don't think those are suitable jobs. And some of those jobs, Chick-fil-A, will be paying more than the people working in some of these office environments. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it's this whole thing that society has put in our heads, and they believe that the harder you work, the more you slave for $2 an hour. That's a story that you can tell and I think this is for more people of color. I'm going to really point that out too, because our journey is always 10 times harder than that of a white person in America when it comes to owning a business, moving up the ladder, any of one of those things, like when it comes to work here. So, they'll put this idea out that, hey, a suitable job is, you got a suitable job finally getting paid at least $50,000 a year at the age of 45. And you got 3 degrees and stuff like that, but you don't really need those degrees. But where did you start? Remember when you were cleaning those toilets for me? Remember that? And I was only paying you $5 an hour, but you stuck it through. And I taught you commitment. I taught you strength. I taught you what it's like to be a worker. And I taught you what it is like to achieve the American dream.
So anyway, that BS. Because I know you highlighting the absurdity, but yeah, man. Nah, James, you about to go in there? Jump in there, man.
Oh yeah, I was going to read a couple of super chats real quick. Infinite Content says, and this somebody else just said the same thing. Being reporting from multiple sources that the death count from COVID-19 is potentially 50% higher. Some estimates are that it's roughly 905,000 dead. That's crazy. And I know a lot of that, I think, comes from the way that they classify COVID deaths. Yeah, and exactly, I can believe that number is much higher. And then also sweet Indigo 45 says, thank you for keeping us informed. And good morning to my niece Sarah as well too. That's what I was doing, y'all. If y'all saw me in the phone licking my tongue out, I wasn't licking my tongue out at the story. My niece Sarah had called me on video chat, and I had to talk to her. So my apologies, y'all. But hey, Sarah,
I love it. I told Bubba, I was like, Bubba, tell babe you FaceTime him later.
Right. He too busy in the chat watching himself, so he here.
Okay.
One of the y'all crazy. These numbers, though, you think about Florida, like Governor DeSantis and the way they suppressed the reporting in Florida, right? They intentionally labeled like anything like pneumonia. Like I think one state, I'm not sure, and I'm going off memory completely here, but one state, and I think it was Florida, had like quadruple the number of pneumonia deaths in 2020 than they ever had before. Obviously, that was their way of hiding COVID-19. So I don't doubt that the number is way higher than the 600,000 that we're at right now. My thing is that, just for me, the way my mind works is like we should have burned this country to the ground at 100,000. Like that's 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. Like that's a full pro. That's bigger than a professional football stadium. That's how many dead bodies. Like it didn't register that we allowed it to get that far. To me, it just didn't make sense. Like how do we let 100,000 people die and we still going on like everything is normal? I mean, look 200,000, then 3, then 4.
Yeah, look at what happened in New York, because that's the first thing I thought of when you guys were saying how they were suppressing the numbers. I mean, we had the epicenter, which was where it started. And that was in New York when it started here in the United States. That was where they were saying, hell no, don't go. They were shutting down New York, all of that. And then, Governor Cuomo was handling it so beautifully, right? And he was just very presidential, more presidential than our president. But then the same person was withholding information, suppressing the numbers. And I don't know. No, and it wasn't helpful. So now, it doesn't benefit us when we do that. We need the truth to be told about this virus. We need the truth to be told about the sickness because we want people to know, hey, the better options are X, Y, and Z than for you to just be out there for free, risking your lives here, there, and other places. There are some hot spots, and there are some, places that you need. There are plans that you need to follow. If they're not going to do this, here we are. Stay your ass home. Or if you're going to do this, still
they left us for dead.
Exactly. But they're like, okay, at this point, if you ain't gonna quarantine, that's it. If you ain't gonna get no shot, that's it. If you ain't gonna, at least go get tested every 2 weeks or every time you leave, that's on you. If you're not gonna wear no mask, I mean, it is what it is. That's how a lot of places are moving.
I'd be okay with that if they stopped there. If they stopped at the point where, okay, you don't want to take care of yourself, then fine, we got to keep moving as a country, but we got half the country, elected officials and media outlets who are actively working against people getting vaccines, actively working against people wearing masks, actively working against testing, right? And so we got the worst of both worlds where they're trying to force everything back open. They're trying to get all the schools open because they know if they don't get the schools open, then people are going to continue to be able to be exempt from returning from work, right? That's one of the exemptions. If you have to provide childcare for your kids because the schools aren't open, then you can stay at home. And they're like, now all of a sudden they, being the powers that be, the ruling elite in this country, are saying, oh, no, let's get schools back open. Don't wear a mask. What are you going to wear a mask for? Vaccines, they might kill you if you listen to Fox News. You got all of these things that they're putting into play that's undermining their goal of everybody get back to normal. And it's like they're just trying to get people killed. They are trying to get people killed, and I can't for the life of me understand why. No. I keep saying that. I do understand why we haven't overthrown this country and every country that's let people, because we just get so comfortable. We get so used to it. We're used to hearing these kind of numbers. We're used to hearing that over 600,000 people are dead, right? In India, India, like, they have thousands of people are dying every day. They're putting bodies in the Ganges River, and it's like it just shows how much humans can put up with. I just think at some point people gonna snap. I just don't know where that point is anymore. I'm completely lost as to where people draw the line. Maybe there is no line.
Right.
There's one other clip we have in here, and it's from Jen Psaki, and we'll be discussing Jen Psaki a little bit more when we talk about Symone Sanders. But earlier in the day, Peter Doocy of Fox News questioned Jen Psaki about unemployment benefits being, quote unquote, so good. Take a listen into this.
And on the economy, so employment only rose by about 266,000 jobs in April out of 7.4 million or so job openings. How does the White House know that people are just choosing not to apply for jobs because the extra unemployment benefits are so good?
Well, first, let me say that we have looked at the data, and Secretary Yellen referred to this on Friday, or talked about this on Friday. We don't see much evidence that the extra unemployment insurance is a major driver in people not rejoining the workforce. We actually see the data, and our analysis shows that lack of vaccination, the lower rate, which is why I referred to the data and the week that it was taken, it has an impact. Childcare has an impact. Schools reopening has an impact. But there is also the need to pay a livable working wage. And that's one of the reasons the president will talk about that this afternoon.
But as Bank of America economists who are cited in a Bloomberg story say, anybody making less than $32,000 a year is better off financially just taking the unemployment benefit. So is the White House creating an incentive just to stay home.
Well, again, the majority of economists, internally and externally of the White House, don't feel that unemployment insurance, something that was done at a time where to help unemployed people get through a very difficult economic downturn during a pandemic, is a major driver in our unemployment data. That there are other factors, bigger factors, that have been contributing to the numbers we saw on Friday. That's what we're working to address, and that's where we think our solution should be focused.
Did y'all hear that clown when he said, the economists are saying that if you...
Did he say a Bank of America economist?
Yeah, a Bank of America economist is saying that if you make less than $32,000 a year on your job, then you're better off with these unemployment benefits. Well, then hello, pay people more money then.
Yes. Now, I don't really like Bank of America too much.
Oh, God.
I will say, the economist pointed out something clear as day. You're better off on unemployment. Unemployment right now, I don't care what nobody say. It's not a secret. So me saying it on the show, it isn't a secret. Like, people benefited from literally standing in those long ass lines to go put in their application for unemployment in some places that didn't have the digital option or the online option. And they got home and maybe they didn't know if they were going to get it or not. But when they did get it, they were able to pay their bills more constantly, more consistently than it was when they were literally at the
working
job
80 hours a week.
They were getting and then an extra $600 on top of that. That is a godsend. Do you understand? Now, I wasn't able to get on it. They didn't want to fire me, but
I've been trying, child, but goddamn.
But I saw all
you been trying to get fired,
right, Bubba? I tried everything. But let me not say that because, Lord, I need my job. But in that season, I was looking at everybody from the window like this. Oh wow, they paying their bills and they spending time with family and they get to take walks and God, they get to go, they get to have Grubhub and stuff because they got extra money to come to the house. Lord, they get to go real grocery shopping because of unemployment. Unemployment was having people live lives that they never knew they can live. But also it showed us that America can actually take care of people. They just be feeling like they can't.
I know a few people that benefited from that. And, some of them needed it. Some of them maybe not, but a few. I know a lot of people that benefited from it, and it's funny because that story of them watching and checking that data is funny. When I had a friend that started a new job that was on unemployment, and like maybe that next week or 2 weeks after he started, they said, "Yeah, we cut you off." Like, what the hell? And I've known beforehand. I've had unemployment, man. I was working about. Never mind. I can't say that on there.
Don't put all your.
You know what? Never mind.
But at the end of the day, y'all, like, we're talking about people being able to just have. America is totally okay with people working 60 hours a week for the rest of their life and never having a minute to catch their breath and do anything other than slave for this system. And what they feared the most was that during this pandemic, if people got checks to stay at home, that people would realize, oh, wait a minute, there is another life other than slaving for this system. Wait a minute, there is another life
be in the building.
where I don't have to, fight 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week and then only bring home enough to pay rent. Like, they did not want people to realize that the way this system is set up doesn't have to be the way it is. Kind of like the story we covered about 2 weeks ago where with the new bill that the legislation that Biden signed into law that they eradicated 50% of childhood poverty. And we were like, okay, do the next 50%, because if we can do these things as a matter of policy, why are we not doing it? That's because we're too busy spending money on war, right? We're too busy spending money on new bombs. We're too busy spending money on the super rich, giving them the tax breaks. Not even collect. And here's the thing. Not only are we giving them tax breaks, but we're not even collecting all the taxes that they owe. IRS is going to be sure to send me a letter every single month when they make their deductions from my account to get my money. But you got billionaires out here who got, I think, somewhere around, trillions of dollars in wealth that the IRS not even collecting from them. So that's where our money is going. We can't take care of the millions because we're too busy trying to satisfy the greedy. And that's why we can't do nothing. But we just have, I think the pandemic, if it's done nothing else, Becca and James, it woke a lot of people up. It woke a lot of people up to realize that the way the system works, one, is trash, and two, it doesn't have to be like this because we could do better.
It's very much trash. And look, and I'm sorry for smacking my mouth just now for the listeners. Ben don't like that, but I really think that also it was very, look, everything has been. It was very greedy of America. Like, yeah, you're right. The word is greedy. It's very greedy of America too. I started noticing that, damn, we're in a building that you guys pay rent on every month. To just house us and say that we have to be here. We have to take time away from our household, our kids. We have to take time away from our partners. We can't be around them. So they put us in this jail called a corporate building or whatever building that you're working in. Take away the windows, take away the internet services so that you can't use your phones in these places most times. Make the spaces supposed to be around these people more than you're supposed to be around your family. And they pay rent in these buildings. Now, once the pandemic hit, they're paying rent on these buildings just to sit there, right? For us to just pull up in light bills, all of that, security, all of that. And then once the pandemic hit, a lot of those people were like, we don't need the buildings. We can just send them home and have them work for home. When we used to ask to work from home in the job space, they would tell us, no, we cannot allow you to work from home. That could possibly be a liability. Working from home, you have to work on the job for about 3-4 years before we give you that, because that to work from home is basically like leveling up. And all of a sudden the pandemic hits and now they have they literally lay it down for you. They're sending you home with 2 brand new monitors. They're sending you home. They're asking you what you need. All of those things. They're sending you incentives like masks to your house so that you can feel comfortable to still continue to slave from them from the home. Then they're telling you, hey, what do you need? Like, it looks like you were offline for about 2 hours just now. Is everything okay? Listen, I got tired of the people I was talking to on the phone and I took a break. And I didn't know that I could take those personal times because you didn't tell me I had them. So all these things are coming to play, but it shows us that America is so greedy. They're willing to allow people they're willing to take away from people so much, put them in environments until they find out the truth.
They gotta track you.
And put them in these environments where people didn't know, wow, I'm amongst people who could probably have COVID and my job does not give a damn. My job does not care. Nope. They didn't even want to tell me what the CDC said, that 50 people cannot be in a room together and I'm in a room of 250 folks. Like, my job did not give a damn. They told me I needed to be here or I will be fired. Knowing that tomorrow, I don't know, I may not know how to feed my kid. So I get very, it's a lot of this stuff that we had the light shined on. The wool was pulled from over our eyes and we were able to see, oh my God, all those things that I thought, oh my God, I have to work 6 jobs for this job or I'm going to lose my job. And it's going to show that I'm not a hard worker. It's going to show that I'm lazy. I'm inconsistent, but that wasn't the truth. I just needed my peace. At home is my peace. I will still work for you, but I also wanted to spend time with my kids. I don't have to spend time in a building. They want to strip you to make you feel like it's just misery. It's just a whole big mess that I was able to really piece together in my journal and know that America is just more trash, like you said, Ben. It's more trash.
And it's terrible that they trying to get me to come back in my building, saying that I got it, that you have to do 2 days out the week. What COVID options do y'all have in place? There's already been cases in the office. And ain't nobody 6 feet distanced, and it's all these new trainees, and you want me to come back in there and put myself in danger? I think not. Yeah. Y'all don't pay me enough.
Yeah, man. Listen, the reason they are so used to treating workers like they treat not only you all, but everyone in the audience is listening that ever had to work in a situation like that is that they've always assumed that they would be able to have an infinite supply of labor, of people. Like, they could replace you. They always these jobs like to be in a position where they feel like, oh, well, they don't want to act right. We just replace them with another one. And what messed up that process? What threw a whole wrench in their whole system is the fact that COVID came around and people had to stay at home and they start getting unemployment benefits and didn't start taking these crappy jobs anymore. So now all of a sudden the managers are like, oh my God, I can't find anybody to come and work in this horrible situation. Oh, I can't find anybody who'll come and work for $7 an hour or $12 an hour. And as we stand over your shoulder because, oh, God forbid we pay you $17 an hour. We expect you to slave for 40 hours nonstop. And that's why they have you in the buildings so they can stand over your shoulders and make sure that you're not doing anything with that time other than working for them. And so it threw an entire monkey wrench into the system when people were able to say, nope, I'm staying at home because you're not trying to take care of our lives and you certainly aren't paying me enough to come out in this pandemic and put my life on the line. So this is what they're fighting against. And they're trying to make sure that people stay in a desperate situation. They need workers to remain in a desperate situation so that they will always have to come and take the crappy jobs that they want to offer you with the crappy pay, and so that they can stand over your shoulder and micromanage you every single second of every single day. So anyway, let's move on a little bit. Let's tackle a couple more stories. Rebecca, what you got?
So speaking of jobs that they wanted us, to just handle and have crappy jobs. Symone Sanders, we all know her. She didn't get the job that she wanted. And it definitely took to social media. But it was revealed in a recent feature in the Washington Post that Symone Sanders, whom I love, former senior advisor to then candidate Joe Biden and current spokesperson for Kamala Harris, was upset that after all she put on the line to support Joe Biden, she was passed up for the press secretary job. According to the Washington Post, she, quote, picked a winner, but the winner didn't pick her back. Sanders had made it known privately and in her book that she hoped to be the first Black woman to hold the job of press secretary. Biden instead chose Jen Psaki, a former communications director for President Barack Obama, for the job. That one stung her, said Bakari Sellers, a mutual friend of Sanders. Two big moments where Sanders literally put her life on reputation immediately come to mind during the election. The first is when protesters rushed the stage. Okay, remember that. They rushed the stage during the election and Symone wrestled the protester off the stage. Let's take a look at that video.
In the neighborhoods we come from, the three.
First wave couldn't stop him. There she is. You see her in the background.
Mm-hmm. She put her body on the line. I'm like, girl, who? The second is the infamous interview with Joe Biden on The Breakfast Club. In the Washington Post, Bakari Sellers, CNN commentator, said, and friend to Symone Sanders, said, Symone spent a lot of capital in that job. Oftentimes asked to defend Biden when the campaign had a problem with the Black community. Like, for example, when Biden put his foot in his mouth by telling Charlemagne the God that if anyone was having a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't Black. Let's take a look at that clip.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't Black.
It's just cringy all over again. Why did I watch that?
I forgot all about that.
But as Black women, 6 jobs, Symone Sanders did. She took to Twitter to defend Biden, saying, Vice President Biden spent his career fighting alongside and for the African-American community. He won his party's nomination by earning every vote and meeting people where they are. And that's exactly what he intends to do this November. She continued in a second tweet saying, the comments made at the end of the Breakfast Club interview were in jest, but let's be clear about what the VP was saying. He was making the distinction that he would put his record with the African-American community up against Trump's any day. period. Despite all of that, sis was passed over for the little red hair, the little box colored red hair.
Passed over.
Hey, who she passed over? Hey, run that B-roll again. Run that B-roll of who they passed up Symone Sanders for. And I just, because Rebecca, when you put it like that, like, I mean,
with the hair flip.
He was passed
with the
up
flip,
for the box.
Hey, I started that B-roll right on. I knew somebody was going to see that. I did that on purpose. I did it on purpose. I put you caught it. Cause look, man, Symone did the most. Now, listen, like I know Rebecca, you said you like her. She's cool. Like I liked her when she was. I liked her when she was with Bernie Sanders campaign. Didn't really too much care for the work she was doing with Joe Biden, but she was doing it. She was doing a damn job. Like she was on television all the time. She was a great representative for Joe Biden. If you were supportive of Joe Biden, she went up there and tackled that protester when everybody else was like, "Oh my God, what do we do?" She was like, "Boom!" She got him, her rather, and she got passed over. Because, I mean, let's not get it twisted. Like, she is a communications director. Like, she was the communications director for Bernie Sanders. Like, that was her role. Like, she's done press secretary work plenty of times, and she got passed over for.
And she was also through the whole majority of Donald Trump's presidency. She was also the go-to because of the strength in her voice. And she was a powerhouse when it came to being a commentator on anything Donald Trump was doing. And, she was the young millennial Black voice. So a lot of people were using her in that space. And of course, Bernie Sanders saw the light in her. I think that was a given, and utilized her for his own campaign. But then, Joe Biden, I think, saw it as an opportunity. This is the same way that I think Joe Biden saw when, the opportunity for Kamala to go speak for what was happening to Black Americans, to have that voice, in the George Floyd case. So, or not the George Floyd trial, but the Chauvin trial.
That happens to me all the time.
But it's funny because I think that's what he looked at Symone as. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of clear people definitely, and I really do think this, though, a lot of clear people, and I'm talking about from all nationalities, a lot of clear people will take the opportunity to make it diversity and inclusion, and they will grab that person just to highlight everything. Do you think that Joe Biden would have ever had an opportunity or would have ever wanted to sit with Charlemagne the God or the Breakfast Club and speak to the millennials and the urban crowd? Do you think that? No, it was Symone Sanders who opened that door for him.
And then he went on there, man. He went on there and said, "You ain't Black."
She had to do 6 jobs. She had to
clean up on aisle 3.
We all were like, "Symone, sis, I know, Symone, this is the struggle for you, but they're doing the PR work for him. You're his security guard.
Yep.
Like you're over here having to battle out people that is right, but to protect this position because you thought that it was secured for you. You thought it was promised to you. And I'm pretty sure he made her feel that way because Symone doesn't look like somebody who is nobody's fool. Like, I don't think that she would just be like, "Oh, I'm going to just take this, and do all of this and look crazy for a position that I'm not going to get." But he done, after all of that, he was like, November looking real good, looking real sharp. November's looking very promising for me, thanks to my diversity and inclusion. One person, because it's always that one Black person. She came in and did what she had to do. And I heard Black women do work 6 jobs. I mean, look at Stacey Abrams. Didn't get the position, but still was doing the work. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and that's where we are with that. That's how I felt that, I don't
just feel like it's a I mean, to me, it's like, well, here's a flip side of it. Symone gonna be just fine because Symone know how to navigate that system up there. She's not particularly. I mean, she's a career professional, and I don't. I mean, you could take that as a compliment, or you could take that as you could take that as an insult too, right?
I take it as a compliment, though.
But she's gonna she probably will get the job. I think Jen Psaki is only doing 1 year in this position. I know something. I tell you one thing. If they don't give that woman that job, because it's not because it's an affirmative action thing. No, it's because she was clearly qualified for it. She did the job for Bernie Sanders. She did it for Joe Biden. So she was a spokesperson for so many episodes of every single Sunday morning news show. And she currently is a spokesperson for Kamala. I mean, that's a little, to me, I'm like, oh,
it's strange.
It's like
okay. Who are your friends? Where's the loyalty in this whole space, sis?
Yeah, that's like they done sent you to Kamala's office, sis.
Yeah, that was like, okay, the black woman and the black woman, girl.
Yeah, they'll get along good.
White House,
they'll get along good.
But she's probably looking at Kamala like, girl, you too, sis. Like, and somebody just put melaninly challenged.
Melanin. You kept saying clear. Melaninly challenged.
But yeah, no, I think that a lot of people, and Symone is not the only person in this space that probably has been robbed of an opportunity. But in the same sense, I hope that she does what everybody else who has worked for anybody in the White House under Donald Trump, I should say, and who has left, gotten opportunities, and like literally milked it for what they could. Like in her book, I did mention the book, so go support her book. I don't even know the name of the book. I didn't even know she had one.
Symone got a book out.
Yeah, I just read it in what our producers put together for us. But she put it in her book, and Bakari Sellers was pointing that out as well. He quoted her. So whatever book that is, let's go support it. Let's figure out what it is. If we can just see what it is, drop that in the chat or whatever. But we're gonna support her just like everybody supported all them people who have jobs for less than 72 hours. I will because I don't like black women getting treated that way, especially when they're doing 6 jobs.
No, wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Like, where was Jen Psaki during the campaign?
She was doing this on the side. She was doing this. And then she was coloring them roots with the box color, with the box.
No,
red,
like
with the box
who did Jen Psaki tackle for Joe Biden? Right, do the flip. Hey, listen, I had 30 places I could have started that clip, and I said, "Nah, I'm gonna start right there on that flip because I need America to see."
And what's funny is I feel like Symone, who ain't got no hair, beautiful. I love her shaved head too. She'll be like somebody that act like she got a bang, but she'll do like this with it. You got Jen Psaki just right here with it. Symone be throwing it like her. It's a bang.
She's like, it's some hair up there. She don't care. Long hair, don't care.
It's true.
That's like me like rubbing my head like I'm trying to pat my hair up there, like flip.
Like, girl, and her hair is fried.
Why Dwayne put it on?
Psaki's hair is fried. For you to have that position, it's no bounce, it's no movement. That position does suck. Whoever had that position before, which we know was Sarah Huckabee, and all of that, the evil spirits, the all of that energy is
McEnany.
still
Kelly
there.
McEnany. Yeah.
So now, even Jen Psaki, she was just looking young when they put her in that position. All of the sudden, we're looking at her now. You can't tell me she ain't looking older all of a sudden. It's a stressful position. It's a stressful position for somebody that's nicely shaved to throw it back.
She gonna be fine. She'll be fine. I just thought it was wild that that after all she did, she still, and not only what she did, like we put up those clips of what she did, but not to mention just her qualifications, and she still got passed over for Jen Psaki, who was
somebody
was
said melanemic.
Y'all are wrong.
Y'all are wrong.
All right. Anyway, let's do this one last story. Let's do this one last story before we go to the after party. You can get access to the after party by going to patreon.com/like it or not, becoming a patron, and you get. We have a whole lot more to cover in the after party, as well as just some general hanging out. Listen, cancel culture has gone to a whole nother level. Apparently, according to Kentucky Derby winning racehorse owner, the owner of Medina Spirit, the horse was drug tested after the victory and found to have had some substance in it. And the owner said, no. It's not that he was drugging his horse to get a victory. It's that this is cancel culture. I'm not joking. Now, cancel culture includes steroids being pumped into horses because, well, no one wants accountability. Nobody wants the consequence culture. So they're going to call it cancel culture. Let's take a look at that clip.
Will you run Medina Spirit this weekend in the Preakness? I know you've said that, but they're going to have a meeting tomorrow down there at that race.
No, actually, they're on their way right now. They're in a van. They should arrive this afternoon, and we're definitely planning on running them. I'm going to run 2 horses.
Okay, Bob, here's my understanding. They were going to have the draw today for the Preakness, and they've kicked it back until tomorrow. You have another review. Those results may not be available for several weeks. So the Preakness goes down this weekend. The Belmont is here in New York 4 weeks from now. I don't know if we have final results even before the Belmont is done, but your plan is to race in the Preakness. Is there a chance they may punt and not allow Medina Spirit to run this weekend?
Well, I haven't heard anything officially. They haven't told me anything. I know when Churchill Downs came out with that statement, that was pretty harsh. And I think they had to just, it's with all the noise going out, we live in a different world now. This America is different. And it was like a cancel culture kind of a thing. So they're reviewing it. I haven't been told anything. We're prepared to run. I can't see them.
But under the rules, does your team get to review the results? Or is that left with the horse officials?
No, it goes. There's a long process. There'll be a split sample, and then there'll be a hearing, and it's going to take months. This isn't done within a week, and it's a long period.
But you're here to say that Bob Baffert's team did not cheat to win the Kentucky Derby.
We did not cheat to win the Kentucky Derby.
Because it's cancel culture. Now check this out. This is the 29th horse that this man has had that failed drug testing over the last 40 years. 29th horse. And according to Mediaite, they said each time this happens, Baffert and his lawyers point the blame elsewhere, and sport welcomes him back with open arms. But in this case, he had a one-up it. He was like, "Yeah, no, this is cancel culture." So doping up, and then to make it even funnier, because Donald Trump is an asshole. Donald Trump said that the horse was a junkie. Man called the horse.
He's a junkie. It's a junkie horse.
That's the best part of the story. Donald Trump's called the horse a junkie.
Why didn't I hear that?
Wait, nobody has a picture of the horse. I want to see how juiced up this horse is.
Jesus. Wait, no, we're not gonna do it. Mark from Australia.
Mark from Australia.
Can you get us a picture of a diesel, like a swollen Arnold Schwarzenegger horse, but somehow make it look like a junkie at the same time? I mean, this is just so disrespectful. But the big thing is that everything is cancel culture. I mean, you rob a bank, it's cancel culture.
The big thing is Trump called that horse junkie. Y'all leave me alone for the rest of the day. You hear me?
Yeah, I
did not at the same time. And I hear Ben say that. It just really threw me.
I couldn't even get the sentence out. I was
and then somebody talking about they didn't know Ric Flair was racing horses.
I'm done. I am done.
Come on, did look like Ric Flair. Woo! Put him back on Ric Flair. So of course if Ric Flair is racing horses, he's going to jack juice that thing up. Oh my God! Look at Ric Flair.
He is giving Ric Flair, but with a better, with a more tame, with more tamed locks. So
right.
Man,
it's a Ric Flair and Bob Barker.
I can see the guy next to him looks juiced up. The host. The neck is real thick. It's giving juice.
He's a junkie. Do it, Bubba. The horse is a junkie.
That horse was a junkie. Baffert, your horse is a junkie. Junkie from China. junkie horse from China.
So the horse is out here like, where's the drugs at? Like on some Dave Chappelle.
I need that juice.
Is that what is the horse going to people's homes and like literally falling out because he ain't got the drug?
That voice is a hell of a drug, man.
Come on, she's like,
turn that thing, Mr. Edge, just start having conversations.
Horse voice. Cut his mic off now.
All right. Oh man. Whew, good God about it. Why is Donald Trump the way he is though? Because I much prefer, please, like never run for office again. Man, but just be on the sideline and just be Donald Trump. Just don't go into office, man. Cause I can't even finish that sentence without cracking up.
No, we're not going to repeat it because I'm done. I am done.
Oh man. All right, folks. Click on patreon.com/like it or not. If you are a member, patron, or a Twitch subscriber, you already have the link. Go over to the post game. We're going to the post game. I've got nothing else to say. Rebecca, what you got before we go to the post game? Not post game, the after party. I'm forgetting what show I'm on. We going to the after party.
The post game. What you talking about? No, definitely. Make sure you head over. Make sure you guys head over to the after party. I just want to see you in the after party, because if you're in the after party, that means that you're paying to watch us, and if you're paying to watch us, that means that you really love us and you support what we're doing, and your support is going to help us do this another day. I love you guys so much. I mean it. And Saturday is my birthday. Love you guys.
Happy birthday. Horses there. Happy birthday, Rebecca. Day 2. Junkie horses.
Happy birthday, Rebecca. Oh my God. She's such a beautiful black woman.
I am. And so on the rest of this week, I do want you, Bubba, to partner with me so that we can have a song at the end of each first segment, so that the can celebrate with me.
At the end of we'll do it. Anyway, go ahead, Jay. Take us after party.
I take the rules, bitch.
All right, gotta get a whole
I love
song.
you guys. Take us to the after show. We'll talk later, Bubba.
What's that going to be, your intro song?
It is. I don't like
the shade of it all.
I need y'all to he left me outside on purpose. Take
the shade of it all.
Take us to the after
Oh gosh, I can't breathe. Oh my gosh. Y'all are crazy. I swear y'all is. Thank y'all again for tuning in this morning, y'all. Make sure y'all head over to the after party, y'all, so I can get some more funny going on. And also make sure that you follow our social media pages, Like It or Not Show on Instagram and Facebook. Like It or Not Show on Instagram and Facebook. Love y'all, mean it. And for those who are not a patron yet, make sure that you go and join patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not, y'all. Love y'all, mean it. See y'all in the morning. After party, here we go.
Now I'm looking at you like you were my closest cousin, and I really can't picture trying to be your husband. So I got a jet, try to catch a destination, or better yet, I need a doc for an operation. Get me out of here, I need a drink pronto. Catch a horse like the wind, call me Tonto. Hide away in the safe of a grotto. If this is a taste of my luck, I'm not playing the lotto.